Jamie Jenkins is here, basically. He's going to tell us why it's such a bad problem. Jamie, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. Maybe one of your Friday gaffes is Reeves' management of the UK economy.
Well, I mean, it's a continual problem, isn't it? You've put out some stuff this morning, some stats. For 5 of the last 13 months since the election have been negative growth, 157,000 payroll jobs lost under Labour. The economy seems to be being choked with higher taxes. I've just had a message from the people that work with Liz Truss, who basically saying that it's worse than it looks, because actually there's the underlying growth figure is now in negative territory.
Yeah, it is worse than it looks, Mike, because if you think the population's growing with the immigration that we're having, so you kind of expect to get a bit of growth on top of that to make up for the fact that we've got more people in the economy. So what's going on with the figures, Mike, is pretty much we're seeing struggling in retail trade. So the retail sales figures that we had last week were looking pretty dire as well. So the consumer-facing services is struggling in the economy, manufacturing struggling in the economy, and what's really propping up this figure of nothing, which is zero, is pretty much government spending. So the government's borrowing money, adding to the debt, and we're seeing kind of increases in kind of health activity. We'll talk probably a second about the waiting list, but ultimately, if the government wasn't borrowing money and putting money into the economy through the spending in the public sector, the figures would be even worse than what they are today. So, this is an economy that's really struggling, and it didn't take a lot, Mike. You didn't need to do an economics degree to work out that when you do put those taxes up, and more I've tweeted this morning about choking the economy, the private sector is really struggling with the conditions the government's putting on it.
But that's the problem, isn't it? Because they see growth as kind of the only sort of method of growth, the driver of growth for them is what they call investment in public sector operations. But actually, that's not investment. It's simply taxpayers' money, which they've had to collect from us to put in to try and keep things sort of working normally. But it's not proper commercial activity. It's not generating anything.
No, and remember, you don't have a public sector without a private sector being taxed to pay for the public services. And the payroll jobs figures, Mike, that I've also put out, which we've discussed in the past. So I think we'll get another update soon on those, possibly next week or so. So yeah, we lost 157,000 payroll jobs. So that's people paying tax into the system. But what that masks, that one figure, is the private sector is much worse than that because public sector's up. So ultimately, Mike, if we want to get the economy going, personally, I think we need to go down a lower tax route because economic theory, Mike, you put money into people's pockets, they go and spend it, creates jobs, you tax people, they don't go out, people don't go to hospitality, people have to lose jobs, and the tax burden goes up on the government paying them benefits.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that people have said to me is that the reason why Rachel Reeves has called the budget for so late in November, the 26th of November, latest ever, is because she's sort of hoping for some kind of economic miracle to happen between now and then, which will be something that is without her control, if you like. Is there any chance that anything like that could happen?
It's not going to happen, Mike. Just the figures today, they're stagnant. We'd be lucky to get, 1% growth in the next few years under this Labour, government. They are struggling along. I think the key thing that we got to focus on, Mike, is that they said they wanted to get the economy growing. All we're getting is the small boats growing in terms of the numbers there. Record numbers this year. Inflation's up. Waiting lists are up. So all those metrics that a government likes to be assessed on, the ones going in the wrong direction is the economy and jobs, and also in the wrong direction is tackling the small boats, the inflation figures. Everything is going wrong, Mike, and I just don't see why Starmer, he's had his reshuffle, probably politically damaging for him if he tried to do it, but Rachel Reeves needs moving on.
Well, we're only 12 days into the phase 2 of this government's practice, don't forget, which hasn't really been going terribly well. I can't wait for phase 3. I don't know what's going to happen.
Phase 3, Mike, will just be more doom and gloom. I think the problem you've got, I think, with the cabinet is how many of them have actually done real jobs in the real private sector where you generate that wealth for the economy. It's just, you cannot continue with this tax and spend policy, because if you just continue with that, it's just going to keep stifling and stifling that growth. Now, it made no sense to put the national insurance hike up in, Mike, because what that's done is you've seen business investment has fallen when we looked at the latest GDP figures recently as well. So if businesses are investing less, that's going to really stifle growth overall. And if you put taxes on business like the jobs tax, people cut jobs. So, I don't know who's advising Rachel Reeves, and I know Starmer's now brought these economic advisors into the into this number 10 as well. But those advisors as well, I think they're more tax and spend. Where are the economic advisors going for this more low tax economy? It's not there, Mike.
No, it really isn't good. Jamie, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Our favourite statistician, of course, Jamie Jenkins there, reporting into us from Welsh Wales.